never forget the sound of her scream. It wasn't the kind of scream you hear when someone's startled or scared. It was raw, sharp, the kind of sound that tears your soul apart. That scream belonged to my wife. The story began on a quiet Saturday morning, the kind of morning where you'd expect peace, coffee on the porch, maybe some music playing low. But peace isn't something Karen, our HOA president, ever allowed. To her, control was everything. She had fined us for leaving boots by the front door, for my truck not blending with neighborhood aesthetics, and even for planting wildflowers in our yard. My wife Emily had always been patient, always tried to keep the peace. But that day, Karen crossed a line that shattered everything. Emily was standing on our porch, watering the hanging plants she loved so much. Karen stomped up the walkway, clipboard in hand, barking about unsanctioned modifications. My wife calmly said, "Karen, it's just flowers." But Karen didn't care. She was red-faced, spitting venom. Then it happened. With one sudden, vicious shove, Karen kicked Emily square in the chest. My wife tumbled backward down the wooden porch steps, hitting the ground with a crack that made my blood run cold. I dropped everything, rushing to Emily's side. She was conscious but gasping, clutching her ribs, pain etched across her face. I looked up, and Karen, this smug tyrant in a pantsuit, stood at the top of the stairs with her arms folded, like she had just won some twisted game. "You people never listen," she sneered. "Maybe now you'll learn." That's when the sound of engines filled the air. Not just one, not two, but an entire line of diesel roars growing louder by the second. 3 minutes after Karen laid her hands on Emily, 5 military convoys rolled into our cul-de-sac, the ground vibrating beneath their tires. Neighbors spilled out of their houses, jaws dropping as soldiers in full gear stepped out, scanning the situation with razor-sharp precision. Karen froze. Her face went from smug to pale in an instant. You see, what Karen didn't know, what she never cared to learn, was who my wife really was. Emily wasn't just my partner, my best friend, my everything. She was also a decorated military officer, a woman whose service record was stamped with classified missions most people would never hear about. And when word got out that she'd been assaulted, the people who served with her didn't just sit back. They came. And in that moment, standing over my wife's fallen body, Karen realized she hadn't just started a neighborhood dispute. She had declared war on the wrong person. The cul-de-sac had never been so quiet, yet the silence roared louder than anything I'd ever heard. 5 military convoys, 5, had rolled into our sleepy neighborhood, soldiers fanning out in perfect formation, boots pounding like war drums. Neighbors froze on their lawns, phones up, whispering frantic questions. Why were they here? What did it have to do with us? Karen, usually venomous and smug, stood paralyzed. Her clipboard slipped from her grip, clattering on the porch. Emily leaned against me, clutching her ribs, pale but steady. Then a tall figure in a green beret broke through the ranks. Colonel Mason. His mere presence commanded silence. When he saw Emily, recognition flashed in his eyes, quickly followed by fury. He dropped to one knee. "Colonel Mason reporting, ma'am. We came the second we heard." Emily managed a weak smile. "You didn't have to." "With respect," Mason cut her off, voice steel. "When someone lays a hand on you, we don't ask questions, we move." His words sent a ripple through the soldiers, their posture hardening like stone. Karen stumbled back, but Mason's glare froze her in place. "Was it her?" he asked. Emily nodded. "She shoved me down the stairs. That was all it took." Mason rose, his frame towering over Karen. "Ma'am, you just assaulted a decorated officer of the United States military. Do you have any idea what you have done?" Karen stammered. I didn't know. This was HOA business." "HOA business?" Mason thundered. "You call this business? You crossed into criminal assault." Neighbors gasped, their loyalty snapping. For once, nobody defended her. 2 soldiers flanked Karen as deputies arrived, lights flashing. Mason crouched back beside Emily, his voice softening. "We'll make sure she pays. Need medevac?" Emily shook her head, grimacing. "Bruised ribs. I'll manage." Mason's jaw clenched. "Anything for you, ma'am." And as phones recorded, The truth settled over the street. Karen's rule was finished. The mask was gone. She hadn't just bullied the wrong neighbor, she'd declared war on the wrong woman, and this was only the beginning. The deputies didn't waste time. Karen shrieked as they pulled her wrists behind her back, the sound of handcuffs snapping shut echoing across the cul-de-sac. Neighbors leaned over their porches, whispering and filming, their faces a mix of disbelief and satisfaction. For years she had lorded over them with fines, threats, and petty rules. Now, for the first time, she was powerless. Emily stood slowly with my help, bruised but steady, her eyes locked on Karen. "You thought pushing me down the stairs would scare us," she said, voice clear and sharp. "But all you did was reveal who you really are." Karen thrashed, spitting words like venom. "This isn't over! I'll sue! I'll take everything you own!" But Colonel Mason stepped forward, his presence silencing everyone. "It's already over," he said coldly. "You've assaulted a decorated officer and disgraced your community. You'll answer for it in court, and the record will follow you for the rest of your life." The deputies hauled Karen toward the cruiser, her protests fading into the distance. The convoys began to pull back, soldiers climbing aboard with practiced order. Yet before Mason left, he terse, "Ned to Emily, one last time. You've got allies you never even knew you had. If anyone comes for you again, HOA or otherwise, you call, and we'll come." Emily smiled faintly, clutching my hand. "Thank you, Colonel." As the last convoy rolled away, the neighborhood shifted. People who once avoided us now approached, some apologizing, others offering help. Karen's empire had crumbled in a single night. Later, as the sun dipped below the tree line, Emily and I sat together on our porch. Her ribs were sore, but her spirit was unbroken. I raised a glass, my voice steady. To freedom, to peace, and to never letting tyrants rule our lives again. The neighbors cheered, the lake shimmered, and for the first time in years, our home truly felt like ours. Karen was gone, and the HOA's grip was broken. The war was over, and we had won.